Yo, 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 what's good, y'all? It's your boy Tenzin, one third of the SOS podcast. Got my hair down, but you can see, hold on. See, I got that haircut though. That fresh cut. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, I should be getting this styled sometime this weekend. But I hope everybody's having a lovely hump day as we don't have no guests tonight, but hey, we take it one day at a time as I named the episode. But some announcements. We're less than 2 weeks away from the Revival of Reason 2026, hosted by the Black Non-Believers. I will be performing at that event. We're gonna be in Atlanta. The I believe the Freedom Hall. I think that's where it's gonna be at. Don't quote me, but yeah, man, it's gonna be really good. A lot of dope speakers, and of course, musical talent, aka myself, will be there to rip that stage up. Hell, I'm still preparing for it, matter of fact, but that's okay. I'm always, sort of calling audibles and sort of like, what's the word? What's that word, man? Oh my gosh, it's on the tip of my tongue. See, it'll come back when I least expect it. Rig. No, not rigging. God, what is it? When you kind of just like in the last minute, but you kind of just you just make it happen. That's I had to become like musically speaking, I had to become like a Mr. Make It Happen. I mean, it's really just because like I don't know, man. My attention span when it comes to like preparing for stuff long term be kind of like, like sometimes I be on it, other times I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just have to, fuck, what is it? What is that word? Is it finagle? No, I'm close to it. But anywho, man, just know I'm gonna be there. Just know I'm gonna do good regardless. I mean, because that's how I roll. I mean, last time I did flub up some lyrics, but the thing is, it was a song that I was preparing for the most. I thought that song was gonna be a shoe in, but that ended up being the song that I kind of fucked up on. But the crowd was all good; they still fucked with it. But second year is the second year of the Revival of Reason. Last year was pretty fun, man. I got to meet a lot of cool people, got to hear a lot of good people speaking. I met Shelly Segal. She's a singer from Australia, really dope vocalist. I hope to work with her someday. I did tell her, whenever I write something that's a little bit more lighthearted, because I was in my depressive era with that tape, the Grandmother's Basement tape, which is still a classic, but recovering addict and all that good stuff. So yeah, man. But this go around, it's gonna be a lot more upbeat. I definitely had to throw some shit together for that set, but this go around, it's not necessarily a set. I'll be performing like little bits and pieces throughout the event. I guess I'm more like a palate cleanse, the musical palate cleanse. But yeah, man, a lot of good folks gonna be there. Godless Engineer, Candace Gorham, uh, Helen Green, whom I just had on this show last week, and I was on her show last month. So we're gonna have Javon Bradley. He's a TikTok slash YouTuber, known for his debate skills. I mean, listen, I don't mind a good debate, but I just can't talk to bad faith motherfuckers. I lost the patience for that. But that's the thing too. Like, because with religion, I mean, people are gonna be bad faith regardless because there's no rational reason to believe in religious stuff. So yeah, like you're gonna hear a lot of special pleading, a lot of that bullshit, right? But as far as like actual shit, like actual factual shit that we actually can observe and can actually like look up, especially like when it comes to like politics or any like social commentary. Yeah, no. All right. I can't put up with that. Like, you know, because the information is out there. You just have to fucking look it the fuck up. Like, and my little brother B, he said it himself. And I can attest, like, it's hard debating people who are just flat out wrong about shit. It's like, bro, like, I don't know what to tell you. I can't break this shit down any further for you. Like, you're just being a fuckhead. Like, and the few debate episodes that we had, like, yeah, a lot of times our guests whom we were debating were just kind of just being fuckheaded. I mean, not net like, and it's so weird because you kind of have to give them benefits of the doubt because a certain people in a certain position, like especially right of center, it's like they have their own media, especially if you're like MAGA. When we were talking to, I believe it was Chad Beck at the time about the Minneapolis shootings. I believe it was Renee Good. We were talking about Renee Good, and yeah, like we all three of us, me, B, and Mr. Beck, we all saw the same footage. Somehow, Mr. Beck, whatever he saw, that officer was in danger. He was about to get fucking ran over. And which, what any normal person with a brain saw was she was simply just moving her car. Like, I mean, was she being insubordinate? Sure. But she was in no way putting that man in danger. And, next thing we know, he let some shots off and we have a dead American citizen. And, and the propaganda machine on the right is just so strong because instead of saying, "Whoa, hold on, this American citizen lost her life in a very pointless way," we're seeing people going after her sexuality. Like that's supposed to be an issue. Like, oh well, she was already twisted in the head anyway. Her woke family, her woke wife was trying to tell her to ram the guy. Which what? No, she didn't. Or the fact that, and it wasn't just Mr. Beck. I mean, it was other guests we had, like uh, uh, um, was Umbrego Garcia. Like, they were so amped to just, yeah, he needed to be deported. He still needs to be deported. I mean, he's a member of MS-13, which those tattoos were definitely doctored on the photo, and also, I mean, literally on the spot, we look it up and we see, oh shit. Well, there was a previous case from 2019 that said, oh no, he need to keep his ass here because yeah, he would be in serious danger if he was to go back to El Salvador. And also, he was a law-abiding citizen. He had no kind of criminal record whatsoever, and he was not a threat to anybody. If anything, he was a way better citizen than those quote unquote patriots who stormed the Capitol. And that's what blows my mind. Like, those motherfuckers don't give a fuck about motherfuckers storming the Capitol, trying to interfere with with a national election, the results of an election. Like, you're trying to interfere with that. That is probably the most un-American thing you can do. And why? Is because your guy lost and couldn't take the L? That's crazy. And and those same motherfuckers would be like, "Oh well, fucking BLM, the fucking BLM riots, bro, fucking BLM, man." Okay, property damage, sure. How many people died? I mean, If anything, they were mostly peaceful. It was mostly the fucking police causing all the violence, right? I mean, were there bad actors? Of course there were. And guess what? The bad actors got called out. But yeah, I mean, but that's what I'm saying. It's like to be able to like do debate content like on the regular basis, especially against like bad faith actors, like people who just don't give a fuck about what's true, whether it's you know like whether they actually believe the nonsense that they're spouting or they're grifting. And I don't think now the people that we've talked to, they definitely seem like they believe the bullshit that they espouse. But at the same time, it's like you can't sit there and claim to be a rational actor, but then you're talking about, oh, well, this, like, these policies are good because this, you know, like, I remember one of them was like, because, they were talking about Hunter Biden. I think it was Mr. Beck again. They were talking about Hunter Biden. And it was like, oh, well, we never would have voted for Joe Biden if we'd have known that Hunter was on. Like, what the fuck does Hunter got to do with Joe? Like, Hunter does not have any sort of political office or anything. So that's like, why would his shit matter? That's like saying, oh, well, George Bush's daughters were so drunk and partying all the time. I would have never voted for that guy if I knew his daughters acted like, okay, but were his daughters in office? Like they will say shit that they know would be stupid as fuck if like said in the reverse. But they just, I don't know, either they don't care or they're just so convinced of their own nonsense. Now, I say all that to say that was like a little tangent, but anyway, it's gonna be a great event. You know what I'm saying? If you're non-religious or just curious about the secular community, yes, man, please, go to the Black Non-Believers Facebook or Instagram page. Sign up for either a virtual ticket to watch it live or get an actual ticket to actually attend. I would love to see you all. All right, because it's it's some good shit going. Like who doesn't want to learn about people besides themselves? And it's so funny. It was so cute. My grandmother, she saw the Facebook post and she was like, "Oh, well, y'all having a revival? That's kind of like church, is it?" I'm like, not necessarily. It's just like-minded people coming together and just sharing different perspectives. I mean, like we discussed last week with Helen. I mean, like, so what is going to a baseball game religious? Is going to an anime convention religious? I mean, you're just surrounding yourself with like-minded people. You know, unlike religion, atheism doesn't have like this like unquestioning rule book that you have to follow. There's no prophets or anything that are seen as like infallible. Okay, because listen, there's been a lot of atheist figures who, once we found out they were on some fuck shit, man, we sent them on their way. You know, unlike with religion, right? I mean, I think religious people are doing a little better, with casting out their bad actors as far as like the humans, but still, it's like take the figures in Abrahamic religions, for example. I mean, there's prophets within Abrahamic religion that are just deemed as like, you know, oh so good, oh so perfect, but within their own stories, they did a lot of horrid shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like Prophet Muhammad from Islam, this motherfucker married a child. Like, I mean, yeah, sure, whatever. Times were different, but God's morality is supposed to be forever and ever. Amen. Right? I mean, it was good yesterday, it's supposed to be good today. So you mean to tell me this infallible God did not know that children can't consent to stuff like that? Oh, okay. or let's go to the Judeo-Christian side of things, that which I know that's not actually a term, but fuck it, we gonna say it today. Oh my god, and it's so annoying. But like I said, at least it's religion, right? Like I said, I'm used to bad faith in religion because yeah, you got no choice but to be bad faith if you're gonna like defend the existence of like a omnipresent, omnibenevolent, omniscient, all powerful deity, right? But you mean to tell me that the same God who expected human beings to understand that, you know, extramarital affairs and, you know, sexual relations without marriage, is bad, mixing fabrics is bad, hey, you can't be gay, that's against nature, even though that's natural, like, that's bad. But that same God had to like handhold people through slavery. Get the fuck out of here. Like, he really could not say, hey, owning people is fucked up, don't do it. you know yeah, it's like that compartmentalization is something else. But anywho, I do want to touch on something heavy. So I believe this week, was it I wanted to say it was, yeah, it's like earlier this week, I believe. Rick Chow, he was the owner of some convenience store up in South Carolina. Him and his son chased down a 14-year-old boy who allegedly stole from them, stole some water, I believe. Which, according to an article, I believe he brought the water. He returned the items that he tried to steal. But they chased this young man down and shot him. Well, Rick Chow shot him. I mean, his son, according to the defense, I guess Rick mistakenly saw that. Well, he thought in his own eyes, he thought that Cyrus, that's the young man whose life was taken from him. He thought that Cyrus Carmack Belton was pointing the gun at his son, and so to defend his son, he shot the boy. Which, you know, I don't know. I just don't see how any jury could find that to be not murder. I mean, first and foremost, this motherfucker is fleeing. Second, I mean, you chase this motherfucker for like dozens of yards over what? Some water? A bottle of water was more valuable than a person? That's, I don't know, boss. That's kind of funny style. But, it opened up an old wound. Because this is similar to the murder of Latasha Harlins. She was a 15-year-old who was gunned down by, hold on, by Soon Jadu, a 49-year-old Korean American. This was at a liquor store. I think she was being, I think she was accused of like theft. And yeah, and unfortunately, that little girl lost her life. And she was only 15. Cyrus was 14. So it's like these parallels, right? First and foremost, I mean, no one deserves to die for shoplifting. I mean, the fuck, this isn't biblical times, and even in biblical times, you got your hand chopped off, you know. But I don't know, man. That's terrible. And and I feel for both families because I believe even back in 1991, dude was let off. Um, Correct me if I'm wrong. Even though I'm literally in front of a computer, but I believe she was found not guilty. And same with Rick Chow, found not guilty. Which again, you ran down this teenager for yards. Okay, y'all ran pretty fucking far. Now, Cyrus, allegedly had a gun. I think he did have a gun himself, and maybe he did pull it out. But the thing is, he was shot in the back, and witnesses and the eyewitnesses did not. None of the eyewitnesses recalled him actually pointing a weapon at Chow's son. So yeah, the family of Cyrus, they are planning to go the civil route, and so hopefully they win that at least. But no amount of money is going to bring back a slain family member. That's just not going to happen. I mean, so it's like you see the justice system just straight spit in your face, and now you have to hope to get some sort of like money for damages that's not really going to be fixed. There's just going to be like this Cyrus size hole left in our hearts forever. um yeah, so I just wanted to touch on that. There was like I said, this is like, what is it, the year is, well, it happened it occurred in 2023, but this verdict dropped to this year, 2026. But do I have a calculator on here? I'm sorry. My mental math sucks. So let me gosh darn open this up. Do. Let's see. 2023 minus, which I should know this because I was literally born in 1991, but screw it. I'm lazy today. 32 years apart, these events occurred. 32. Okay. And it's almost the same story. Yeah, man. So shout out to Cyrus's family. Hoping nothing but the best, in these trying times. Also, another historical event. Euphoria is over. 7 years, 3 seasons. Yes, Euphoria has came to an end. Spoiler warning, rest easy, Rue. Dang, she did not make it out. So a lot of the fan theories from when the show came out were correct. Like she was the reason why she was this omniscient storyteller is because, well, she was already dead. She was just retelling the events. But my thoughts of the show as a whole, I mean, I enjoyed it. The first season, dope. I was thinking to myself, like, yo, man, I don't know what type of high school them niggas was at. I mean, because, like, I'm trying to think. Like, when I was in high school, like, niggas was definitely wilding, but not on that level. But, these were like rich kids. So I don't know. Now, when I went to North Clayton, I mean, yeah, I mean, kids was definitely involved in some debauchery. Of course, there was sexual activity going on, fighting, gangster shit. Because Clayton County, yeah, the reputation definitely precedes it. But my experiences growing up in Clayco, I mean, like, it depended on who you hung with. I hung out with mostly like the nerdy motherfuckers, like normal kids. You know what I'm saying? So we ain't really getting to a lot of heat like that because I was mostly in the house anyway. And if we were outside, we were doing something productive. Well, except for that time we got robbed, but that's another story. Uh, Rockdale County High School, where I actually finished high school at. I mean, yeah, this is more now. These kids, there were some. Now there were some kids who came from rich families, and then there were some kids who came from like poor families. But there was also like white kids and stuff there too. So there was like different kinds of debauchery going on. I remember I think my first day, I think I asked one of the kids in there like, "Hey, did you catch the assignment?" He was like, nah, man, I'm rolling right now. I was like, you're what? I never heard that term. I was like, you're what? He's like, I'm rolling. I'm on ecstasy. I was like, oh, oh, okay. It's one of these schools. All right. So I'm over here thinking I'm in this fucking Degrassi school. You know, there was like this one couple in there. Oh my god, their PDA was just like almost like disgusting. Okay, like I mean, they weren't like necessarily like going in, but it was like, all right, nigga, god damn, we get it. Y'all are dating. Like, get out of here. But that's how niggas was. I mean, you're hormonal and young and shit. So yeah, man, it was yeah, like so Euphoria was definitely over the top. I mean, now apparently some people on the net, they could definitely relate to it. I guess, especially if I guess if they went to high school, like in the West Coast, in a affluent community. Um, like I said, there was like a mixture of like you know well off. Like I'm talking like up. Like when I say well off, I mean like yeah, there was people who came from upper middle class families. What I'm saying like motherfuckers who like their dad might have owned a dealership or something like that, or or their parents just had some really good ass jobs. Like, I mean, man, this one classmate I had, she had a whole like theater system in her house. We were like, damn, that's what's up. And, and then there was one family, uh, their fathers their father was a former NBA player. Who he was, I don't know. For all we know, he was probably on the bench or second string or something like that. But still, he was in the NBA. And yeah, there is like a neighborhood back in Conyers, which was just a bunch of like mansions and shit. Yeah, because I remember. I just know his last name was Farrell. But I remember one of them Farrell boys, like this was back in 2010. So the was it 2010? Yeah, it was no, not 2010. What the fuck am I talking about? I was in 10th grade. So that was like 2007. Oh my gosh. Anyway, yeah, so it was like '07. So the Escalade was still fire. And guess who was whipping the motherfucking Escalade? This high school nigga. Okay, like he was an upperclassman. I think I was in 10th grade. This nigga had to have been like a senior. But yeah, this nigga was whipping the Escalade. I was like, yo, you were in high school still. Your dad got you a fucking Escalade. That's crazy. Like, like and of course he had like the Indian and the Arab kids whose fathers probably owned a fucking Dairy Queen franchise or some shit, or they were probably a Patel, So yeah, they had all like the freshest gear. You know what I mean? Like whether it be tech or clothes, depending on which route they went. Because yeah, there was some niggas that be like they want to be, cool with the black kids and stuff. So yeah, they were rocking all the bathing apes and shit. But yeah, man, it was yeah, but safe to say my high school experience did not match the Euphoria experience at all. However, I did relate to that show because I was an addict. Um I wasn't related to opiates or nothing like that, but I was definitely addicted to a hard drug, and it was definitely fucking me. Like, I think the only saving grace of me dealing with that was the fact that, I live with my family. Like, I feel like if I was living by myself, like truly independent, then yeah, like that addiction definitely would have killed me or worse, just ruined my fucking life. I mean, I had a settlement from a car accident that just got squandered due to my habit. And me and my late uncle, peace be upon him, we bonded over that habit. He introduced me to it. I guess he had more faith in me than I deserved. I mean, It start like most addictions. It starts off like, oh yeah, man, this is some cool shit I can do over the weekend. But then after a while, it's like, and I think getting raises was sort of kind of made it worse. Like, 'cause I kept getting promoted, so I'm like, oh, I can afford more of this drug, and I'm just using. Like, it got to a point where I was using almost on the daily basis. And yeah, that's definitely going to take your money away. So, and I remember there was this, I believe there was an episode where they were talking about one of the side characters' fathers who also was dealing with addiction. And I remember Rue was narrating, and, she said, like, yeah, like every day, he thought, oh, I'm going to be better. I'm going to fix myself. I'm going to be better. And yeah, and I related to that. Every day I thought, okay, I'm gonna be better. I'm gonna be better. But I never got better because addiction does mess with your mind. But I will say, I mean, at least this hard drug I was addicted to, it wasn't necessarily like you get withdrawals or anything, but it was like psychologically, it's like, yo, I need more of it. I like that feeling. I need it back. I was still chasing the dragon. Um, but you know, sadly, my uncle passed away. You know, his life sort of caught up to him. He was kind of doing bad health wise. I'm over here thinking it's something he can get better from. I mean, he seemed fine going to the hospital. I called him that night. I said, "Hey, man, I love you." 'Cause I remember he was like, "Oh yeah, Marcus, Tenzin. Sorry, dead name myself again." He's like, "Yeah, Tenzin, you know what I'm saying? We gonna go pick up that stuff. Not the stuff I was addicted to, but some other stuff. We gonna pick up that, man. My bad for." I was like, nah, man. Yeah, your health. I was still recovering from being high. And his friend came to take him to the hospital. And I'm like, okay, he's gonna spend the night there. Man, well, they said they were keeping him. So I'm like, okay, he's gonna spend the night or two. He'll be back. Things got worse. And it was crazy because he seemed fine. He was, according to his friend, similar to my grandfather. He was laughing and joking, you know, talking to the people, had a great sense of humor. Things turned for the worse, and he was gone. We had a choice to either keep him on support or not. And, according to the doctors, I mean, it'd probably be least likely because it was bad. I mean, the machine was literally just doing everything for him. I had to say goodbye. And, and it wasn't necessarily that substance that killed him. However, then one of the nurses came in and was like, well, being that he has used that substance within the last couple of years, um, yeah, he will not be eligible for a donor. And he used to always say, like, hey, if I end up in that state, don't take me out. That was his wishes. He always wished to be kept on life support. But it's like we didn't want him to just be a vegetable. So my grandmother made that tough decision. But yeah, so basically his passing, I had no reason to do that anymore. It's not like I had any connections. Which my therapist at the time, he just to give me some credit, he was like, "Listen, you could have found another connection. It's very easy to find these connections. You didn't. You didn't try. So good on you, Tenzin." But yeah, I mean, Euphoria was definitely relatable in that way, and just as Sam Livingston said, yeah, like a lot of, unfortunately, not a lot of addicts get that happy ending. Unfortunately, a lot of addicts don't make it. And I'm not saying that my uncle died necessarily from the drugs. Like I said, I think it was just years of his body taking all that, and his body was kind of just shutting down on him because he was probably the most functional addict I ever came across. He could be high on everything, and he could still drive a car. Um, but yeah, man, that's what made Euphoria powerful to me because I was an addict watching a show about addiction. And shout out to Zendaya. I mean, that to me solidified her skills as an actress. I was like, okay, yeah, she does this. She ain't just a Disney girl. She's really good, and everybody was just the whole cast was A1. I mean, now there was a lot of, of course, every show got their little plot holes and stuff, and things that didn't make sense. Like, well, what the fuck is that happening for? Where did that character go? Like, what the fuck? But I have to say, I mean, now one of these days I may have to just actually just marathon it all the way through just to see if it makes sense. But I mean, as far as watching it through syndication, it was probably, yeah, it was a very good piece of television there. Shout out to Zendaya, but shout out to the whole cast. I mean, y'all did amazing. Um, Angus, peace be upon you, my brother. I mean, wow, that was a very good send off they did for him. Um, yeah, it was dope. And yeah. Anyway, we're gonna take it one day at a time, folks. Short episode today. If you like what you heard, man, please like, subscribe. Um, Stay tuned this Friday for the What They Want podcast. Every Tuesday, our Big Sisters podcast, Raw Recovery, the community, comes on. Very, very great. If you know somebody who's dealt with addiction, that's definitely a great podcast to listen to because, our big sister, she dealt with addiction herself, and she's talking to other people who've made it out, and it's very powerful stuff. Also, man, our another third of our podcast, Folkland Los, be sure to follow his page and listen. I believe he got something coming. I believe he got something cooking. Um, but anyway, yeah, man. Peace out, everyone. Thank you for joining. We're gonna call it. All right.